Hey everyone, it's Sam. We're here talking about Kamal 2. We're going to go through a live setup of getting it running on a fresh new Rails installation. I have never done a fresh Rails installation with Kamal 2 yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through all the problems I run into. We're going to see where we hit snags, and hopefully that's going to help you out. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and let's get deploying. Okay, so let's get started. Let's run through this. So what we're gonna do first is do a Rails new. So we're gonna do Rails new Kamal 2. And then we're gonna wanna install Kamal. Gem install Kamal. And let's see here, Kamal version 2.2, that's great. And then what you want to do is do a Kamal init. So first, let's go into the directory, Kamal 2. Then we're going to do Kamal init. That's going to set up all the files. What you're going to notice if you've used Kamal 1 is that Kamal 2 uses the .kamal/secrets file, as you can see here. And we'll run through that quickly as we get going. But first, let's check out the config file. So let's go. Let me just get in here. Kamal 2 and the config/deploy file. And let's just go to the top. So I like to delete these. So let's get rid of the my app. We're going to call it Kamal 2. Then the image. This is all from Kamal 1, same stuff. But if you're new to this, basically this is just an image name, the Docker image name. I'm going to use Docker registry to host my images. So I just, had the forward aspect be my username, which is sjones540. And then I'm going to use a server that I have in Hetzner. I'm going to put it in here. And that's all I'm going to need now because we're just going to do web. And then, yeah, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but Kamal changed from using traffic, which was a little bit more complicated and didn't fit their configuration style, to Kamal proxy, which is something that they have custom built to use for Kamal. I think it lacks a lot of the features of traffic. You can still use traffic on top of Kamal proxy, but the idea, I guess, was that the Kamal proxy fits in well with what they're doing or what they're trying to do with Kamal. But we'll see how it goes. I haven't used it yet, so maybe it's amazing. I just don't know it. And that's something that I need to figure out. The host, let's just put this at devscoach, kamal2.devscoach.com. The host is used here to set up the SSL certificate that is used with Let's Encrypt. Kamal proxy does that automatically for you, just like traffic was doing for us previously. And the app port is going to be 3000. By default, it does 80. 80 is because they use Thruster, which is this other proxies. There's a lot of proxies going on. But anyway, doesn't matter. For us right now, we're just going to use 3000. Maybe we'll talk about Thruster in a different episode. And then this is just the registry for for Docker Hub. I'm going to be using my my username here. And then we're going to use the Kamal registry password. So let's take a quick preview at the kamal.kamal/secrets file. So this is specifically to show which environment variables are used for your production. This is supposed to be used, as you can read from the configuration here, it's supposed to be used as a just sort of a definition, and not actually, you don't want to actually put this credentials here. Why? I'm not exactly sure. I'm guessing it has to do with the fact that they want it to be in Git. I don't understand why they don't use like the built-in Rails credentials. That would make more sense to me if it has the master key. But hey, they have their own reasons. And I'm guessing it has to do with bootstrapping. And, well, I guess obviously they want to be able to use different they want to be able to use Kamal for not just Rails files. So they use this Kamal/secrets, and then it keeps everything in the Kamal directory, and it doesn't reuse the .m file, which maybe a lot of people are using. So anyway, what we just need is the Rails master key and the registry password. You can do this. You can use Kamal secrets helper. I don't know what that is, and we're not going to worry about it for right now. So we're just going to get the master key and then the registry password. I am going to export the registry password into my environment with my password by myself. And I set it, so you can set yours, or you can set up a different way to get the environment variables into your deployment environment. But right now, that's what I have. And so let's go back to the deploy. The next thing that changed was that you had to specify the builder here. So we're using AMD64. The builder is the Docker builder, what Docker is using to build the image. It needs to know the architecture of the CPU that you're deploying on so that it runs correctly, obviously. It used to use the multi-arch builder, which would do every type of architecture, I assume. And then I guess to be more specific, it's changed to more of an explicit configuration here. Personally, I would love to see it SSH onto the server, check the architecture of the server, then build it automatically, which I think should be pretty easy to do. But anyway, they have it here, so I'm not in charge. So, and then we want to just get the configuration files. What we want is the DB Rails master key. And that's about it. For the database, of course, we're going to want to have the volumes for the configuration. Sorry, not for the configuration, for our SQLite database. So let's just say we're using SQLite here. If you want to use a different database and learn about accessories, check out my video on Postgres and how to set that up with Kamal, because that's going to work the same way in Kamal too. So just app storage, and then let's just use let's just call database.sqlite3, and then we'll update the configuration database to be like database as what's in database. And that'll just be in the whatever, in the default directory. So then let's run a Kamal setup. We run into a problem here that I ran into before, which is that the new versions of Kamal require that you use the you actually commit the files. Before, it would just use the working directory. So I just need to commit all this stuff and say, init commit. And then we can do Kamal deploy. Command. What I meant to do is Kamal setup so that it runs and creates Docker. Deploy lock is already in place. This happens all the time where like the lock is doesn't get cleared correctly. So what you're going to want to do is Kamal lock release, and that's going to release it. Obviously make sure that you're not, overriding it with someone else if you're working on a team. But for now, I know that it's just me, and so I'm going to do Kamal lock release. And that's, the reason that happens is because I controlled seed out of the deployment earlier because I knew that I was doing something wrong, but it's okay. Okay, so we ran into this problem here. The database, the database mounting here, the volume has to be a absolute path. So let's just go back to what I usually do, which is /data database SQLite, and then let's just go to the Docker file. We just need to go to the Docker file. Let's see, we need to make the directory here, data. We need to make sure Rails owns it, obviously. And then and we want to do is run make dir data, and that's going to make sure that the data directory exists, and then Rails owns it here, and that's going to be db log storage, and then I'll just make sure it's /data. Then we'll go to the deploy. We'll make sure that's /data, and then we go back to the config database and we make sure that's /data. You could obviously use an m variable here, but I don't think it matters actually. So let's just run the setup again. So I ran into a problem again. Forgot to commit the changes, you know, and then that's gonna mess me up. But let's go through it again. All right, I have to add the schema file. I forgot about that. Let's try again. See if we can get it. Fifth time's the charm. Fifth time's the charm. You're such a fucking piece of shit. Database. Okay, we finally figured out the problem, which was that as you can do, this stuff file here. No, I messed up the deployment configuration here, and I was overwriting the database file, so it needs to just be the directory, obviously, for the volume. So that's got fixed up. Everything's working correctly now. The problem is we're seeing this sort of HTTP parse error, which I think is because of the default configuration for Rails, which is force SSL is set to true in production. Force SSL, which means the Puma is supposed to accept only SSL connections, which we would set up with Thruster, which I mentioned earlier, but we're not using Thruster. And so I'm just going to set this to false because we're going to have HTTP, not HTTP, the Rails proxy, Kamal proxy, sorry, is going to handle the SSL. So let's fix that up, and then we're going to commit that. It's still not going to work yet because we haven't set the configuration for Cloudflare. So let's do that actually. So all we need to do is grab the server here, and then we'll go to the configuration. This is my devs coach configuration, so I'll just do kamal2.devscoach points to this, and we're gonna want to have it proxied. But let's have it not proxied at the beginning just to make it easier, and then eventually we'll get to the level of where we want it to be proxied. Okay, everything deployed successfully, so let's check out the page and see what's going on. Okay, look, it's deployed successfully, obviously, since this is a Rails error, but it looks like we're getting 404, which is probably okay, but let's just check. I was hoping to see the Rails logo here. Let's just go back and check the logs. So if you want to see the logs, just do Kamal logs. And let's look here. Kamal app logs is what it is. Kamal app logs. And then we can just see that there's no route match to home. So let's add our own index here. Let's add our own index page here. So we'll go to the routes, and we'll go to route home, and then we'll just do Rails generate controller home. And then, and then we'll just look at the home. And we'll just go to the home controller. Just do an index here. I'll go to views, app. App views, home, index, HTML ARB, and then we'll just do like huddle. We'll just make sure this runs in dev. Huddle. And then we'll just commit it. And then deploy again. Now we're back. So let's check the page to see if it loaded correctly. There we go. Hello. And so that's it. We did a run through. We got it. It's working on HTTPS with a new fresh Rails installation using Kamal 2. And I hope that is helpful to people out there just getting started with Kamal. The next video, I'm going to go through, if you already have a Kamal 1 version, to upgrade to Kamal 2 and show you how that works. So if you like the channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.